Hi all, today I'm going to be taking a look at Imaro, a novel by Charles R. Saunders. Released around 1981, I believe, it's cobbled together from various short stories from fanzines of the 1970s. Basically, it's a sword and sandal story, but it's more classified nowadays as sword and soul because Imaro is African and he wanders around the plains of a African-like continent, and it's basically in the mold of Sword and Sorcery, sort of like Conan, although I wouldn't classify it as Black Conan, as a lot of people do, because then that would be misselling it. Conan's its own thing. Imaro is his own character, and the characters in the book, like all the tribes and stuff, are based on real tribes and everything, but there's still the sorcery of the sword and sorcery um, genre. So basically, Imaro is a dude that is part of a tribe called the Iliase. His mother saved that tribe from a sorcerer that was hiding among them, and so the Iliase begrudgingly keep Imaro in their tribe. They don't know who the father is, and that's a big shame to them. So they pick on Imaro as he's growing up. Now Imaro grows up and he's fairly remarkable as a young man. He's stronger than everyone in the LSA, and he's more skilled, but they still don't like him. And and it's kind of obvious when you read the book that this is different short stories because they are fairly episodic, but they do weave together in one narrative. So Imaro basically does prove himself to that tribe, but it's too late for Imaro. I mean, they take him in, they apologize, but he's like, "Yeah, you guys picked on me my whole life and made me feel small. Forget it." And he wanders off into the African plains. The land that he traverses is called Nyombani, and Nyombani is a continent based on Africa. So there is some historical context here, which is different than something like Conan. Conan, Robert E. Howard basically set the Hyborian stories and stuff in uh, a sort of time setting that was prehistoric on purpose so that he could dabble in various things like sorcery and different races of creatures, etc. Here Imaro does dabble in that kind of thing. He fights other tribes and they have different weaponry and stuff like that, which is interesting. But then he fights a demonic sorcerer at one point that's like disfigured and creature looking. He fights a giant living statue at one point, which is cool. They take a spike out of a statue, and that I guess was holding in a spirit that turns the statue humongous and starts trampling people and killing people. And Imaro has to shove the spike back into it to stop it. That was cool. That's a great sequence. He fights a demonic sort of wailing forest spirit that forces Imaro to face his past. Imaro is trying to find out who he is while he's traversing these different lands. At one point, he gets captured by a tribe of outlaws and becomes their leader basically. And of course, there's one guy that wants to be the real leader and all that stuff, and he has to fight him. Um, and they fight various different other tribes, and he basically grows his notoriety among the people and among his land. Um, Immoral, the book itself is very good. It was gripping, very well written, and written in the style of old pulp, sort of sword and sorcery adventures. Lots of great descriptions, lots of great, like situations where people gain respect for each other and stuff like that sort of macho thing. Um, Imaro himself is cool. He suffers no fools. He does split few skulls in this. It's pretty neat. A lot of the fighting is very well written. You really feel it, and you can really see it in your mind. All of the different lands are very descriptive as well. I enjoyed this. I know there's like three other books in this series, so I'll seek them out. Charles Saunders himself was born in Elizabeth, Pennsylvania, in July of 1946, and he moved to Canada in 1969, first living in the Toronto area and then settling in Ottawa. And he eventually moved to Nova Scotia in 1985, and he passed away in May of 2020. I would say that Imaro and all the other books and 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 his other adventure books like Dambala are Canadian books. I'm just gonna claim them for Canada. So this is cool. I do recommend it. It's pretty neat. Um, it's a good example of the sort of sword and soul. You know, like if you want a black or like an African twist on your favorite genre, like a sword and sorcery thing, you should seek out Imaro. It's pretty neat, and it's a good adventure story just in general.